I tried to talk about this over a week ago, and I just kept running out of time, but I think it fits in very well with what we're talking about right now. Anna Kendrick, the actress, recently went on a podcast to lament a breakup that she just had with some guy that she was really in love with, but they never got married, and then they broke up. And very sad, tale as old as time in Hollywood, but it got really, really dark when Anna Kendrick revealed that she and this guy had actually created embryos together. That is, they'd conceived babies that they just locked away in a freezer, who now, I suppose, will remain in that freezer forever.
I was with someone, and this was somebody I lived with, and for all intents and purposes, my husband.
Yeah.
Really, we had embryos together, and
wow.
This was my person. And then about 6 years in, somewhere around there, I remember telling my brother when things had first kind of gone down, I'm living with a stranger. Like, I don't know what's happening. It wasn't just I'm losing a relationship. It was that I believed that if we broke up, or, if he left, basically, it was a confirmation that it's because I'm impossible. I'm lucky that he's even tolerating my bullshit.
Okay, so she's saying a lot of things here that don't make sense. She said, look, this guy was for all intents and purposes my husband. But he wasn't. And you were not for all intents and purposes his wife, because you didn't have that ring and you didn't take that vow before the minister and the witnesses and the public and God, and because you didn't have that marriage contract. You weren't. You were his concubine. You could have maybe even become his common law wife if you had lived together longer. But you weren't. Cohabitation is not, for all intents and purposes, the same thing as marriage. You're missing the essential part of marriage, which is the vow to remain together. And then you went further down this route of irresponsibility, or you and this guy went further down this route of irresponsibility, and techno-dystopia. You had children, but you didn't quite have children. And the way that she says this is so jarring, it kind of sends a chill up your back. She goes, yeah, look, we lived together, we shared a refrigerator, we had the same Uber Eats account, and we had embryos, and we had a dog, and he sometimes took the pillow in the middle of the night, and we created human beings together that we put in a freezer, and sometimes we even borrowed each other's cars. Say, hold on, wait, what did you just say? I said we sometimes borrowed each other's cars. No, before that. Oh, I said that we shared the same refrigerator. No, after that. What was the thing of, we had embryos together. You had embryos together? Oh, you had children. Well, not quite. Not quite. Because now what you can do, because of our technological advances, is you can make the most consequential decision, maybe of your life, certainly one of them, to have children. You can engage in the most significant act, one of the most significant acts you can ever engage in, while still pretending that you haven't made that decision, while still pretending that you haven't committed that action, while remaining, as modern people are so inclined to try to remain, totally uncommitted. Because we know that whenever you make a decision to do something, all of a sudden, you are foreclosing the other options available. When you decide to marry one person, you are simultaneously deciding not to marry this other person, or that other person, or this. And I'm not just saying this in a flippant way. Well, I'm picking this one gal. That means all the other gals in the world are off. Too bad. I would have had fun with them. No, you're being a little more specific. Maybe you're dating this woman, but you still have an old flame for your old high school sweetheart, I don't know. Or you have a crush on that girl from whatever, and your ex-girlfriend, you think about her sometimes, and you are deciding, no, that person, dead to me. That person, dead to me. That other person, dead to me. I will never fulfill that love story that I wanted to fulfill, because I am making a decision here. And two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not be one traveler and travel both. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps better claim because it was grassy and wanted to wear. Though as for that, the passing there had lain them equally about the same. And each that morning equally lay in leaves no trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, but knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted that I should ever come back. And I shall say this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. When in fact, there's no evidence that the other road was less traveled or the other one was more traveled or anything like that. You're making a decision and you know that way leads on to way and you're not going to come back to the other one. And people don't want to do that anymore. That's why younger people don't tend to stay in one career. They tend to kind of switch up their jobs and switch up their careers. That's why young people don't get married early these days. We just need to meet new people and travel and have new experiences. And this is why young people very often don't want to have children these days. It's because when you have children, you are closing off a stage of life that you were in, adolescence, and you were entering into a new stage of life, and people don't want to do this. This is why young people these days, I think, remain enamored of their childhood interests. It's why you have so many more young people these days continuing to pursue the same kinds of activities that they did when they were children. I said, look, I'm not a big Disney guy, but I could see an argument for why adults can go to Disney World. But the reason that adults should go to Disney World is to take their children there. I think it's fine for adults to play little board games and even video games and whatever. They can do all that stuff. But at a certain point, these things that are really for children become weird for adults to do, unless the adults are doing it with their children. You actually get this opportunity to kind of relive your childhood and engage in all these fun things and roll around on the ground and wrestle and play and throw a ball around. But if you do it just for yourself and you pretend that you're still a child, that's going to be grotesque. If you do it in a natural and orderly flow of life where you make a decision, go on, enter into society, have kids, play around, do all the stuff that people are supposed to do, then it's nice. And it makes sense. And it's good, and you're not stuck in this grotesquerie where you're like a hamster spinning on a wheel. You're like a hamster that was pumped with puberty blockers spinning on a wheel, and you don't go into maturity, and then you end up whining on podcasts about how you don't seem to be going anywhere. The rest of the show continues. Now I'm very happy, now that we're live, totally live again, to have the member block back. You do not want to miss it, okay? It's Music Monday, baby. We're listening to some cool, fast, hip tunes. I don't even know what the tune is yet. I'll read the sheet the producers left me on the member block. Become a member right now. Use code Knowles, Knowles, at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. We'll see you over there.